Today we're going to make a beaded bracelet. So you'll need some craft thread or embroidery thread or thick kind of thread, something to hold down the bracelet while you work, some scissors and some small beads or pearls I'm using, and a larger bead to use as the fastener for the bracelet. So we're going to start out by measuring out the thread, and we need 3 strands of thread that are all an equal length. I made mine about 20 inches long and it was too long. I probably could have got away with about 15 inches, but obviously it depends on the size of your wrists. Mine are quite small. Once you've got your 3 strands, we're going to tie a loop knot in the top of them, and this is going to be the opening for the fastener. So that big bead we've got needs to be able to pass through this loop, and the loop not be so big that that bead can easily slip back through it. Now that you've got your loop at the top, secure it down. I'm just using tape, but you could use a clipboard or, whatever you've got that will just hold it in place while you work. Then we're going to start making the bracelet. So separate your 3 strands and we're going to braid or plait them for a couple of inches to start out. So to do a plait, all you do is you take the outside string on one side and move it to the center. Then take the outside string on the other side, move that to the center. Then take the outside string on that first side, move that to the center. And then the string on the outside on the other side, move that to the center. And just keep doing that for a few inches or however long you want to make the plaited part of your bracelet. Once you're happy with the length of your plait, we're going to start adding the beads. So we're going to take the outside thread that would be the next one to go into the middle, thread a bead onto the end of it and push it up so it's sitting against the end of the plait, and then cross that thread over into the middle. Then we're going to do the same on the outside thread on the opposite side. So we're threading a bead onto that one and then crossing that into the middle. So basically we're continuing with the plait. We're doing the exact same thing we were doing, except now before we cross that outside thread into the middle, we're putting a bead on it. And you want to keep the beads on the outside. So when you cross the thread over into the middle, make sure that the bead is still sitting on the outside of the thread. It doesn't cross over with the thread. I ended up putting about 14 beads on, 7 on each side, but you can put as many or as few as you like. You could do this whole bracelet with beads if you want. That would take a bit longer, but it would look very nice. But once you've got as many beads as you want on there, we're going to continue with the plait like we did at the beginning. So before I start that, I'm kind of nudging the beads up so they're all sitting really nicely. And for the first few crossovers of the plait without the beads, you want to be really careful because you want it to sit nice and tight up against the beads so they're all really well held in place. And then once you've done a few crossovers of your plait, it should be good to just, go crazy. You don't need to be too careful after that. So I'm plaiting another couple of inches, about the same amount that I did at the beginning so that it looks nice and even and the beads are in the center of the bracelet. And once you've finished your plait and you're ready to close up the bracelet, we're going to tie a knot at the end of the plait, just a basic knot. And we're going to be slipping that larger bead onto these threads. So you might need to do a double knot or something depending on how big the hole in your larger bead is, because we don't want that big bead to be slipping down the bracelet. So once you've got your knot in place, we're going to thread the larger bead onto the strings. So I'm using a needle for this because it's a bit tricky to get all 3 strings through the whole of the bead. And I'm just threading the strings through one at a time. So now that the bead's on, we need to tie another knot so that bead's going to be held in place, or a double knot depending on the size of the hole in your bead. And you want that knot to sit really nice and tight up against the end of that larger bead so it's held in place. Then trim off any extra thread. So I didn't cut my string right up against the knot. I'm leaving some little, tassely threads. But if you want to cut it right up against the knot, you might want to pop a little blob of glue or some clear nail varnish on the knot, just to make sure that the knot doesn't end up wriggling itself free. And that's it, you are done. So I hope you like your new bracelet, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!